Boy, oh boy, do I have an incredible treat for you today. I have Sally Hogshead, one of my favorite people in the world. Look at this beautiful queen. I love her. Hall of Fame speaker, New York Times bestselling author of the Fascination Advantage. I took that test, the assessment years ago, Sally. I was a defender. I'm wondering if
Ah,
I should take it again because I was like many versions of myself ago.
well, uh, interestingly, I think there's probably a lot that we can circle back around to because something, Amber, that I think you are known and respected for within our industry and beyond is that you have the ability to be very protective of the details. You see what the goal is and you're very clear about how to achieve that goal. So I know that when you're partnering with really high level authors and entrepreneurs, that even if they have that little crazy button in their brain and want to keep going off on tangents, you are good about here's the goal, here's the action, here's the execution, here's the completion.
Yeah, okay, that sounds a lot like me, so maybe I haven't changed that much at all, but
Yeah.
I so appreciate you being willing to come and just have this conversation live.
Mm.
I mean, I know you haven't done a lot of interviews, recently, and so that makes me feel extra, extra special,
Yay.
and
I missed you.
I also know that we both feel a calling right now. I mean, this is a time where a lot
Yeah.
of people are hurting.
Yeah.
They're escaping, they're avoiding, they're deer in headlights, they're exhausted, like they're trying to hustle and learn AI and figure out what's going on, but there's so much change. I mean, no sooner do we think we're in a trade war than there's a 90-day pause, and it's just like
Right.
whiplash constantly. So
Yeah. Hurry up and get your Timu before the 90-day expires.
well, I have to ask Sally, like you exist in a world that I don't have access to. I mean, you're
Mm.
on big stages and you're advising big corporations and you are well networked. I'm curious, I kind of want to start with what are you seeing specifically? Like any data points, any observations, like anything that has you aware of the shifts that are happening. And since we're not doom and gloomers, we'll talk about the solutions and predictions, but
Yes.
I do want to dig into what you're seeing as much as you can share.
Sure. Well, look, you can charge as much as you want in any economy as long as you're over delivering. So people have bigger problems right now. You have the opportunity to step in and deliver bigger solutions, not by changing who you are, but by identifying who you are at your best. What are the types of problems that you can solve in a way that gets a better result for your ideal client? I'll give you a quick example. God, I've had my share of recessions. This will be my fourth recession, so I feel a little bit like an old timer. And in 2008, 2010, I was a single mom. I lost my
Mm.
house. I had to pull my two young kids from public school to private. And I was an advertising creative director. So, of course, the first thing that got slashed was the me budget. So I had to take whatever employment that I could. And I wanted to become a speaker. I felt like that was the next stage in my career. And I recognized that it can be scary to leap into the chaos of a recession, but sometimes that can be the smartest time for transition, chaos, opportunity. But I could only have a $3,000 speaking fee. It was frustrating. It felt like there was a cap there. And so I took a step back and drew upon my advertising background, almost like a focus group. Okay, why can some people charge so much more than others? Is it New York Times bestseller? Is it relationships? Is it having an in with the client? Is it a huge social media platform? And I had an epiphany when I started correlating speaker fees with speakers' topics. Now, if you go to a website like Washington Speakers Bureau, who represents, Obama, there's the speaker, then there's that you can go a drop down menu of topics, and the topics would include, say, politics, humor, psychology, branding, etc. And then you correlate that, you get the fee. So what I learned was speakers who had their topic as innovation, on average, were able to
Oh,
charge
interesting.
$5,000 more than people who had creativity as their topic. So think about that, Amber. Why? Why would innovation be so much more valuable than creativity?
Oh, well, it's creating the future. People want to stay on the leading edge. It makes them relevant. I mean, they feel like they could charge more if they get the information. I mean, there's probably lots of reasons.
Exactly. Innovation is an outcome that decision makers will write bigger checks for. Creativity is a nice to have, but it's a process, it's a mindset. It doesn't have a deliverable. So the
Mm,
question is, what
nice.
is it that's happening right now that you can see? What are the biggest problems you can possibly solve in a way that is completely in alignment with how you naturally communicate, produce, and are most likely to be seen at your highest value by your ideal client? The worst case scenario is that you don't get any work, or that you're struggling. The next worst case scenario is that you have to work with clients that are simply not a good fit. Clients,
Oh,
partners, team members that
that's tough.
drain your
Been there.
soul.
Don't want to
We've
go
all
back.
had that experience. So out of learning from this $5,000 word, I realized during that recession that you don't have to change who you are. You just have to position yourself for your ideal client based on how you naturally add value, which is your fascination advantage.
Okay, we have to go into Fascination Advantage. I mean, I know this, and I want everybody to know this isn't like normally a pitchy thing, but I have found so much value out of Sally's report and assessment. So can you just high brush strokes go into what this is and how people can leverage this in this moment to stay ahead of the curve and to be more relevant? I think it's fantastic.
Sure. I created the Fascinate system during that terrible recession of 2008, 2010, living in a crappy hotel room, missing my kids because I didn't have the money to fly home to see them on every weekend. And I myself wanted to be able to turn my background in branding products, I wanted to be able to turn that into something new, which step one. That's what I encourage. What could you be doing that you've perhaps always wanted to do and didn't have the downtime to do it, that maybe now you do? Um, I knew I had a ton of research on why are we fascinated by one product and not another, one leader, not another. And my husband said, turn it into a test that measures how other people see you. How does that employer sitting on the other side of that table, that potential client, that key decision maker, how are they most likely to see you at your highest value? When
Mm,
you know how other people see you at your best, you become more confident. Confident raises performance. Performance improves results. So
mm.
when you take the Fascinate test, I give you, almost like I'm your ad agency, I give you the exact copy based on your personality advantage. There are
Isn't it
42
beautiful,
different.
everyone? I always like her look, her aesthetic is gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and it makes it really easy. You can literally cut and paste from the report into your LinkedIn profile or bio or speech intro, whatever you need. And so what we created a code just for this show, and I think we'll put it in the show notes. But just
Oh,
go.
outstanding. Yes, thank you. So what we'll do, everyone, gosh, Sally, you're the best. Like seriously, thank you so much for that. That's amazing.
Yay.
I really value that. So we will go ahead for everybody. If you come over to the Elevate series webpage, you'll be able to get access to the replay of this show. Please share it with everybody because Sally is fantastic. Such a get for the show. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Also, the transcript to this call, as well as free access to take her Fascination Advantage assessment. So we will put that linked to her section here as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful.
So how gosh, I have so many questions that I want to ask you. I mean, I'm kind of thinking ahead, Sally. I'm thinking about all of the news that I've been hearing about AI replacing, hundreds of millions of jobs in less than 5 years. And I'm thinking about all of the white collar employees who in my prediction are going to want to turn to entrepreneurship to gain more stability, control, try to be in charge of their own future. If corporate America becomes rocky, and maybe you might even have a different vantage point on that. That's the entrepreneur's vantage point. And then I'm thinking about using the Fascination Advantage to really pivot in your marketing to become much more well, relevant, but also to really meaningfully connect with your audience in a different kind of way and get a more natural result in conversion. So I guess I'm wondering, what do you see that's happening in corporate, the intersection of AI, and feel free to integrate your work in any way that you want to around that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a great New York Times article the other day that was talking about how, college kids are cheating their way through school because they're,
Right.
we had Cliff's Notes, they have AI. And so I kind of went deep on, well, what can AI not do? And so far, AI is really not able to combine complex concepts to create something new. You have to generate the data points, and then it can go find them. So once you have your thesis, then it can give you examples, but I haven't found that AI can do a breakthrough. So, for example, I was
Well said.
doing, you have to be smarter than the AI, and the responsibility for that is on you. But just as my recommendation with the college professors who are getting AI generated essays, it's like, well, ask smarter questions. We have to change the way we think about what high quality distinctive thinking is. Use AI as much as you can. I absolutely recommend training your ChatGPT bot so that you can use it not for the heavy lifting, but like an assistant. And I love the articles that are coming out about saying that Gen Z has identified that the M dash is the dead giveaway for ChatGPT. I actually write with an M dash, so now I have to stop.
I know. My copywriter had a field day about that. He's like, I
Yeah.
refuse to stop using it.
Yeah, I know, me too. Yeah. Maybe fewer emojis.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about AI. Use it's a frenemy. It's crucial that you not find yourself in a position that you can be replaced by AI. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that are most at risk are those that were never really contributing more than like the starting. If you're not actually bringing something to the table, you are vulnerable. If you're a nice to have, then you're vulnerable. If you're a must have, you are not vulnerable. So it's crucial to say, what can I do that my value is not reliant on something that can be done in 30 seconds by a piece of software. The way in which we do this is higher level complex problem solving with a deep understanding of which problems are we suited to solve. So I'll give you an example, Amber. When you took the Fascinate test and we learned that you were the defender, what that means is that your primary advantage, meaning the mode of communication in which you are most likely to be seen at your highest value, is power. You are confident, you are focused, you are goal-oriented. Your second advantage is alert. Alert is the language of details. It's about, if power is about pushing towards the goal, alert is about digging down with precision. I'm the exact opposite. I am primary passion. So emotional connection. Second, innovation. You and I we could have the same project, but we are going to win very differently. So let's think of a problem that somebody has, a potential client. Okay, how about like right now I have friends who are launching books and so it's bestseller, New York Times bestseller, go for it season. I would coach somebody by saying, you want to create emotional connection with that audience. You want to get them hot and bothered with the kind of emails that they want to forward. You want to do something breakthrough that reflects the tone of the book with ideas that they're going to share, that's going to build the community and, like more, like ice cream on top of whipped cream on top of ice cream with a cherry. You would go about it differently. Would you like to describe? I mean, let me say, I'm kind of stacking the deck here because I've had the opportunity to watch you with our mutual great friends create New York Times bestsellers.
Well, you're right. So I can go big picture idea. And I am all about like the emotional connection and the themes because that's how I have clients. Like they don't want to know the nitty gritty details. They want to see the vision, the passion behind it. But then you're right. My superpower is I'm like, great, here's the 72,000 step process that's linear
Yes.
for how we're going to get it done. And my value that I haven't seen in a lot of other people, especially in my position, is that I can talk to team in a way that they understand what needs to be done. They're comforted by the plan, while then pivoting and helping the author stay in their happy place of visionary. And so I'm constantly ping ponging, I think, between these two roles, which is fun for me. I mean, it's given me a
Yes.
great advantage.
And
To your
it's
point.
fun for the New York Times to watch your authors get on that list, and not that that's the only criteria, it's authors have a message that matters. If you're writing a book, it doesn't have to make a list. It doesn't matter how many copies you sell. It's
Yes.
about getting the message into the hands of the people who need it most in whatever form that is. And so that's why it's I probably would not be a good book launch manager because I don't have that 72,000 uh, step list that you do. You have, remember, your power. So pushing when it gets hard, not giving up, having a focus on what the outcome is going to be, and then just attacking, executing, implementing, finalizing, polishing, optimizing, celebrating.
Absolutely. So I think everybody can now see why this is a must. Like, you have to go get Sally's book. You have to take the advantage of the Fascination Advantage assessment that she's comping to you, which is really incredible, and get a part of this conversation, because this is one way, and a really good way, to make sure that you are staying above board moving forward. Learning AI, and how to feed it context and better questions is another one, and how these two can come together, I think, is really important and incredible. Sally, you're the type of person that I honestly just want to say, what else do you want to share and talk about? Which is maybe a question that you don't get very often, but you're such a wealth. I'm just curious, like, what's on your mind to share? What's on your heart to share? So I'm not pigeonholing you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess just speaking spontaneously, I took a year and a half off to spend time with family. We had some stuff going on at home, and it was time for me to shift into being a sort of a stay-at-home mom, which is a role I've never had before. And I was very careful about how I allocated my time. And what I learned was just how much unnecessary energy, emotional energy, I was spinning on the wrong people and the wrong projects for things that I thought there was an outcome that I had pre-programmed myself, or like, for example, working on assignments that just really, they didn't bring me joy. By the time I looked critically at the hours and the team resources it required to finish, it wasn't that profitable. And it didn't teach me anything. So I think it's good for us to try to prioritize a project, a piece of work, a person in our lives. Imagine you only get one of three: quality of work, which is I'm doing award-winning work, or I feel fulfilled by this message, or I'm serving my community. Quality of work, quality of life. I get to sleep in, or I get to work from home, or I get Fridays off, or just love being able to connect with my kids for lunch, or quality of compensation. You don't always get a choice of which three, but it's important to prioritize it. I've been talking to a few people who are looking for jobs, and they want all three, which is totally reasonable. I live in a world of abundance, but like let's prioritize now. And it's also okay. I learned that I was going, when I first started going on sabbatical, I thought, well, in order for me to cover my overhead, I need to amp up quality of compensation. Like I'm doing less, so I have to earn more.
Yeah, right.
And I found that I could raise prices as long as I was adding more forms of value, as long as I was over delivering in the eyes of my ideal client. So being more of a strategic partner rather than popping in on an assignment or delivering a speech. If it's doing a keynote speech, making sure that before the speech, I do just a crap ton of research, AI and otherwise, so that by the time I walk on stage, the speech is like 80% finished, because I've already set myself up for success in the eyes of the client. I'm not getting evaluated in that period of 60 minutes when I'm on stage. And I also learned that doing less work can be more profitable when you are truly enlivened by it. Like my team and I, we call it the happy bubble. When you're working and I went to the Taylor Swift concert. My husband and I went to the Taylor Swift concert
Oh, good.
in Florida. They had a train, the Brightline train, that's 5 cars, and it was the Eras tour. So each train was an era, and
Oh,
it was
that's cool.
co-sponsored, yeah, with like a DJ. So DJ, and it was like this era, that era, and like all the like little girls and their dads and their totally done outfits picked which train era they wanted. And as I was sitting there getting my freckles, like I was like, this is a world I want to live in. I want to live in a world of ridiculous creative passion. And it's my job to find the clients or the opportunities or the people or the scenarios. Those won't just come and find me. And so from my time away, I realized I need to stop being like the hard-nosed business person and start being responsible for who I'm attracting professionally.
That's outstanding. I mean, in moments of economic instability, this really is an opportunity to almost take pause and reflect like, wait, what have I been doing? Am I happy? Who do I want to work with? How do I want to experience life right now? I mean, think back to 2020. A lot of us did that. It was like, wait, what's been going on?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was like the great reorganization of the universe. It was like people were moving and, families were changing and careers were changing. And, hopefully people found they're happy, though it's shifted again. And I don't know that people expected to be here in a moment like this again, and maybe haven't fully even processed what happened in the last 5 years, let alone like be ready for what's coming ahead. But to your point, I love that you're saying what's your happy bubble. How can you find that place? And it's your responsibility to go out and find the clients that you really
Yeah.
want to work with.
If you don't know what makes you valuable financially, professionally, emotionally, intellectually, if you don't know what makes you valuable, don't expect anybody else to. You have to know it, because otherwise you are going to unwittingly bring in, like for me, it's the client that just wants repetitive tasks, anything involving an Excel doc, which is why you and I are such good partners.
Yeah.
I think this is also an opportunity to be the silver lining. It's a dark
Yes.
time. We have dark clouds. Be the silver lining for other people. What does your community need right now that that brings you joy to provide? And a lot of times out of that can come career pivots. I'd say since my fourth recession, every single career. My first recession brought I wrote my first book. My second recession, I created the Fascinate test. My third recession, I became financially independent from my company. So Fascinate runs separately from my brands, which allows me to have a back end so I can be focusing on projects that are not yet profitable. So I'm curious to see what comes out of this one.
I know, me
Well,
too.
it's starting with you, Amber, so it's got to be good.
Woo! Well, when we come together, it's like a big bang. Oh, so what do you think lies ahead? I mean, what's been kind of a common discussion point amongst this series is that you can't predict. Like nobody knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years. And I had a very interesting conversation yesterday with a gentleman named Chad, who I've invited into the series as well, who was saying that 85%, there's a prediction by Dell that said 85% of the jobs that will be on the market in 2030 have not yet been created.
I believe that, and
85%
85%.
have not yet been created. Like that was so alarming to me. So knowing that, like, what is your thoughts about what you want to create next, or how we can shift the conversation using your creative superpowers?
There are a lot of really grim statistics, that the jobs haven't been created yet, or the jobs people have are going to be eliminated. Look, smart people will always be needed. The thing is, now we need to be a little street smarter. We need to be willing to shake our groove thing a little bit more to snap ourselves out of like this paralysis that I think is very natural to have right now, and to proactively identify what is a need that you can fill. So I think about it like this. I'm going to think of a triangle. On this side of the triangle is the problem. What is the problem? Over here is what is the solution? But then at the top of the triangle, I want you to think of what is the difference you can make. So a problem such as the client shortened the deadline, or our competitor is eating our lunch, or our products are dropping rapidly in sales. Those are problems. Now, there are all kinds of solutions. There's not necessarily one right solution, but the type of solutions that you can provide should come directly from the difference, what makes you different. As we know, different is better than better. How your difference can inform the solution. And that's what helps you have a proprietary difference in any type of environment, whether it's a dinner party or a community activation meeting or a mega corporation. And that's what you get from the Fascinate test is what is your difference that allows you to solve those big problems.
Okay, I'm going to be the one to say this. What I would find value in that you create next, Sally, is some sort of AI engine where I can upload that I am the defender. And then my prompt can be, this is the problem that I'm faced with right now. My client did this, my team member did that, or the threat of whatever. And then AI knows your work so well, and it knows this triangle that it outputs a list of solutions that I can go to market based on my advantage type.
If only I had somebody with power and alert who could. No, I have an amazing team, and we actually do have power and alert on the team, but there's no other Amber. Actually, I'd love to have a follow-up conversation with you about it.
Come on. Yeah, it's a dream. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Well, how about you, Amber? I mean, first of all, thank you for doing this series and for helping to elevate during a time when sometimes it feels like our wings have been clipped. Yeah. What are some of the things that you're doing? You're doing this series. What else?
Well, listen, Sally, I mean, honestly, in a moment like this, when I don't know what to do, and I'll track it back to March. Okay. In February, I fell on black ice. I got a concussion. Apparently it might've been my third one in my life, and it really rocked me hard. And so I had to take a deep step back, and I was grateful for it. So no victim here. I was like, thank you for giving me a break to just like be and really intuit what's trying to emerge. Because when I look back on the last 5 years, Sally, I call it strength training. I knew back then that I am being prepared for something much greater than whatever that moment was. And so I felt the depths of the pain of the last 5 years through divorce and moves and family estrangement and business challenges and other things that had happened. And I conquered, as I do. But I still knew there was something a bigger role for me where I needed to really be strong for humanity. And I didn't know what. I still can't say I know what. But I will say that when I got the concussion and in March, that feeling started to emerge. And by the time we got into April, I mean, I had spent almost 5 weeks interviewing everybody from scientists to Uber drivers, vacation rentals, flight attendants, stay-at-home moms, teachers, everybody I could. Everywhere I went, I said, what are you seeing? What are you observing? What are you feeling? And I got all of this data. People are jokingly calling me Amber AI right now. It's so funny. And it was honestly about a month, not even a month ago, that I was sitting on the beach in California, and this download just came into my intuition that said, you need to go live, just like you did when you heard COVID hit. I ran the Elevate series back then. What both have in common is I didn't know what was beyond that for me going into it. It was just me listening to a response of people are afraid, and you have a network, you have wisdom, you have mindset that other people haven't had access to. And so it feels like a give back to hold space and to not be better than anyone and not pitch and try to take advantage, but like just hold space and love on people and show them opportunity. So that's really what this is about for me. And I've also gotten this calling to have an in-person summit in Boulder, Colorado in September. That's like an extension of these conversations.
Wow.
Just to hold space here again for entrepreneurs, because I believe that we're going to survive this being better together. So let's create the outcome that we want instead of being afraid and silencing ourselves. This is the time to rise up, because the people that are looking at the world saying, oh, I wish it could be better. The world is going to hell. It's like, Well, you have the strength inside of you from all the crap that you've been through in your life. You have more resilience than somebody who's had it easy their whole lives. So dig in, use your voice, innovate during this time, and create the humanity that you wish you could see. I think this is the golden opportunity. So I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm seeing and why I'm here.
There's a great pivot that all of us can make that, the first time I ever heard the word pivot, I was on John Lee Dumas's show, Entrepreneurs on
Love John.
Fire.
Love you,
And
John.
I think you and I last saw each other at his house in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
coming full circle. But certain qualities, like say you're the funny one, and you're in meetings, you're kind of like, the Zoom clown, little sarcastic commentary. Well, when people start getting afraid, sarcasm loses its value, and it's not necessarily helping. But here's the thing. So let's take sarcasm. We're going to take a step back. If you are sarcastic, it means you're able to see things through an ironic lens.
Mm.
You have a friction. You probably have a healthy dose of competition. So come back to what is the core trait within you that being funny in a meeting emanates from, but it can also mean being able to bring untraditional ideas to the table, or approaching a new client with witty rapport, or posting things on social media that are really going to get traction. It doesn't mean you can't still be the funny one, but we just have to do it through a different lens.
I just want to spend like life with you. I want to be your next adventure.
Come in, come in.
I think you can all see why I was so excited to have this conversation with Sally. And just out of respect for her time, we are at about 30 minutes. So we're going to conclude here. Sally, anything else on your heart that you wish to share in this moment before we wrap?
Um, I don't want to, I don't want to be like Pollyanna, everything's going to be fine, because I think it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. But I truly believe that when we have a North Star, when we have foundational beliefs in ourself, that I know that I can bring X, Y, and Z. I know that I can bring passion and creativity no matter what, no matter how bad it gets. I can't bring details. I can't necessarily bring the most powerful point of view, but there's a calm and a confidence that comes so that you don't have to panic by trying to be somebody you're not. You don't have to be all things to all people, but you do have to over deliver and outperform on who you already naturally are. And that's where that little joy bubble comes from, is being able to have fresh self-discovery.
Home run. Such good wisdom. I really hope that everybody, you can re-listen to this one. Don't just think you got it the first time through, because there really was a lot of wisdom that was just dropped on you. And please share this on your feed. I know, you just have to share the series so that more entrepreneurs can get access to this information. Sally, thank you again. Love you
Thank
so
you.
much.
You put together such a star-studded panel. Oh, I'm going on a little journey myself as I'm re-entering. I'm about to completely redo my social media. So if you want to follow along on that journey,
Oh,
I'm
heck yeah.
at Sally Hogshead on every platform. I had to buy at Sally Hogshead from a 12-year-old who was squatting on it, charged me 10 grand.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, I will definitely be following you. I believe everybody.
Wonderful. Likewise, of
I'm
course,
going to
as
put some
always.
ads money behind this episode, Sally. I want to go big with it. I mean, I just really appreciate the wisdom that you brought. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
All right, everyone, have such a beautiful day.
Yay.
We're back live this afternoon with Mark B. Murphy, ranked as the top #3 financial wealth manager in the country by Forbes. So that's going to be a good one. We'll see you soon.